What is up, you guys? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, coming at you with the homie, which we never thought. Who would have thought we would be getting a round 3 this season, let alone that we would back our way in to the playoffs, pretty much backdoor our way in, only to get a third matchup with the San Francisco 49ers. I got with me once again, you all know and love him, the homie CG Ruthless 49ers Talk. CG, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Yeah, I never would have thought this would be a third round. I mean, I actually kind of thought it would be a chance we would play Detroit or potentially the Packers, but it's just weird.
Yeah, it was very weird the fact that, it all came down to this. I mean, in a season where pretty much all of us were thinking just win that Denver game in week 1, which we did. And we never were having the high expectations of potentially making that run and potentially backdooring our way in the final week of the regular season. But with all the fates happening, with all the fates aligning, it did. And who would have thought that Geno would throw for 4,000 yards, get a couple of $1 million incentives for what he did on the year, especially making the postseason. And then, of course, the year you guys had going through like 3 different quarterbacks, starting with Trey Lance and then Jimmy Garoppolo, and then now Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy now leading the way with all those weapons. And you guys got Ayuk back. You guys got a bunch of your stars back, including Elijah Mitchell. This time around, you guys are going to have your full course. So it's going to be a pretty tough matchup for my Seahawks this time around, especially now knowing Jordan Brooks is out for the year. So we are going to have our hands full with that defense of yours still, which is definitely expected as of the last few matchups.
Yeah, but a third time gets tough.
Yeah.
A very long time since a team's won a third time against their opponent since 2009 when the Cowboys beat the Eagles 3 times. So it's like, and here's a fun fact. The last time a team's beat their division opponents a third time in the season actually won a Super Bowl. Won the Super Bowl that year, and that was the Steelers. They beat the Ravens 3 times that year, including the conference championship, and won the Super Bowl against the Cardinals. But Cowboys, they got past the wild card or something against the Eagles, but they won the third time against them. And but it's kind of been decades ago since a team's ever did that, so it's been a long time.
Yeah, and then the same thing happened with my team in 2004 when it happened to us against the then St. Louis Rams. And I remember being at that playoff game my first year with the season tickets for the Seahawks. We lost 3 times in a row to the St. Louis Rams back at the time, now currently the Los Angeles Rams. So I remember similarities to that. But, yeah, so getting into this matchup, obviously the last few times that we played, turnovers have been the major factor. And I wouldn't be surprised if that turns out to be the factor again in this game, which obviously you guys have been able to force the turnovers with the pressures you've been getting on Geno Smith with Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, and Fred Warner, and those other beasts you got on there. And then, of course, still the issue of us stopping the run with now you have basically your 3-headed monster with Mason, McCaffrey, and now having Mitchell back. So this is why I'm saying for me as a Seahawks fan, that we're going to have our hands full yet. And I haven't even made my game pick yet, which I'll be doing that with Dallas tomorrow. But so are you leaning more towards the running game to affect it, just like last time when you guys played us up in Seattle, when you pretty much closed us out with the run?
I mean, the difference of what we had last time in Seattle was it's hard to win in Seattle. We've had to play tough on that field, and it was a disadvantage for us at the time. But when we won our division, that was kind of interesting on a short week. But when you think about what the difference is of this matchup, we don't play well in Seattle. So we've always struggled there. So the fact that we beat you guys by 1 possession, okay, we'll take it and we clinch our division.
Yeah.
The difference, I think the difference this time around is you're going to be accustomed to facing us a third time, and usually you get acclimated for that third time and you try to fix those mistakes. And that could be the scary part.
Yeah, kind of like what Tampa Bay did to New Orleans in the 2020 season on their run to Super Bowl 55, where they had recently gotten swept by the New Orleans Saints during the regular season, and then they were much more ready for them in the divisional round, which got them to Green Bay, and then they of course went on to be the first team to win the Super Bowl in their home field. And then I heard obviously that this weekend there's supposed to be a lot of rain coming in on Saturday, and I heard the grounds people at Levi's are trying to keep the field dry in advance, but they're expected to be some major showers this coming Saturday. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Is it also supposed to rain in the Fresno area too, where you're at?
It's kind of been raining up and down around where I'm at too, but yeah, in the Bay Area, it's supposed to be expected to rain. Like it's got this cyclone type of rains, type of storm, whatever is going on. It's crazy, but yeah, I'm hearing that it's gonna rain at Levi's, so that could be the issue there. But I think what gives us the advantage of this matchup is you guys won't have to throw those deep shots as much because you're gonna try to run the ball, and Kenneth Walker would have to be your X factor because in order for you guys to have a chance, he has to go on a roll. He has to be able to run the ball effectively. Kind of like how Josh Jacobs did, but Jacobs did okay. He didn't do like the time he did against you guys, but you need that guy to be the factor because we're going to take away some of the running games. We're going to try to force Geno to beat us. That's going to be the main focus. Okay, you can run the ball, but we're gonna force you to have Geno beat us.
Yeah, and then also another factor is what I've heard from another friend of mine, Kenny Burns and Greg Woodfill, that there might also be a possibility that you guys might also see Rashad Penny. If we were to get back in the playoffs, they said there was a chance we got back to the playoffs. There might also be a chance that Rashad Penny might be back this week. So on my side of the ball, I mean, I'm anxious to see how much we're gonna run Kenneth Walker, but I'm also anxiously awaiting to see if we do indeed end up getting Rashad Penny back to possibly get that two-headed monster. Because sometimes when Kenneth Walker gets the ball, sometimes when he gets caught, he ends up dancing in the backfield and ends up kind of doing some Barry Sanders type stuff where he could end up losing a few yards, as you've seen Barry Sanders do back in his prime, where, yeah, admittedly he has lost yards before too, but I want to see K9 more so just try to go up the gut and not really dance around in the backfield too, especially when you're going up against guys like Bosa and Warner and Armstead and that ferocious pass rush. And then, of course, one of my guys mentioned Hufanga. I think it was Dax mentioned Hufanga. It's like must get the ball out quick because of Bosa, and Hufanga will be in the box.
Yeah, because Bosa can rush and very effectively, and Hufanga, he's kind of more of an in-the-box safety, but he can blitz in just like how Palomalo does. But the only concern factor of this Niners defense is it's kind of been the secondary a little bit. Like Lenore's kind of like the weakest link. Hufanga can be missed out of coverage at times. That's going to be the only issue with how you guys are going to capitalize. But I feel like now the rain's kind of becoming a factor to where maybe you guys might not take a lot of deep shots with DK and those other guys. Because if it was just a normal weather day, I think you guys are going to take a lot of deep shots and you guys are going to try to expose our weak spot there. And I don't blame you guys. The quick throws, that would be key because you don't want to ruin the rhythm of your offense. You want your offense to keep moving down the field. Just like how the Raiders were moving the ball, you want to be able to move it more down the field.
Yeah, kind of like the way we were doing it against the Rams on our last drive again in overtime to set up Jason Myers for the win. Granted, it was a mixture of more so the tight ends and mostly the Kenneth Walker runs, which we were gashing them on. And then another factor which I think needs to happen, obviously, is we need I think Tariq Woolen will probably be – I know you guys got Ayuk back, but how much do you – I think Woolen needs to be – Dax was saying it here. He said Woolen needs to be on Kittle, and we all know how tough of a challenge George Kittle is. I mean, I literally watched him stiff-arm Jordan Brooks on the way to my end zone in our last matchup in Seattle. And obviously the main factor is going to be, can we find a way to shut down George Kittle with what we have on our defense? Granted, I know we're going to have our hands full with Ayuk, and of course you guys having Deebo Samuel back, and then of course Jennings. So another factor is obviously going to be our secondary is going to have our hands full with those weapons, and including the tight end, which depending on obviously the only tight linebackers we have now are Tanner Muse and Cody Barton, which I think will probably be the Kittle obviously against those guys is a big mismatch, and Kittle will probably win that battle most of the time. I'm definitely looking to see you guys get George Kittle involved very early when you guys possess the ball first, or whenever you guys get the ball, because obviously most of the time the team that wins the coin toss mostly defers to get it to the second half. So my main factor is, can we shut down Kittle? Can we shut down the running game? And that's pretty much my factor. And then forcing the turnovers and getting some pressure on Brock Purdy too.
I don't think it makes much of a difference of how you guys pressure him, because if you pressure him just like the Dolphins did and other teams have done, you've seen the completion percentage of what Brock Purdy's been doing, right? Like when he's gotten pressure up front, he's actually completed the passes. He's actually kind of played a lot better than what Jimmy was going through. But I think you guys need to try to like figure out ways to shut down our passing game a little bit and let Brock Purdy hold on to the ball or scramble a little bit, kind of like how your boy Russell Wilson was running for his life a little here and there.
Yeah, back in the day.
But you might need to do exactly what the Cardinals did earlier before we adjusted. Oh, we got John J.
What's up, John? What's up, Sam Dog? Good luck Saturday. What's up, CG? All is good up here, John. Hope all is well with you and the family. Hope all is well with you guys, man. And can't wait for this Saturday's matchup. Now, another thing is what I heard is that Darrell Taylor can't turn into Michael Bennett with penalties on Saturday, which obviously Darrell Taylor is definitely a flag magnet on our defense with some of the certain penalties he's had too. So another issue is I want to see more of my team do more man coverage than zone, because a lot of times when we've been getting burnt this year is because we've been playing like 4 to 5 yards off of the ball, and like our 3-4 or 4-3 defense is just like we need to do more man coverage, especially with the weapons you guys are going to have. Especially like I said, you guys got a three-headed monster with the receivers, Debo, Jennings, and Ayuk being back. So I want to see more man coverage on those guys than the zone that we play too. So that's going to heavily affect this game.
Yeah, you're going to have to adjust more on the coverage better, because I think we built this offense to beat zone coverage. And I think some man coverage can favor some of the matchups, but the chemistry between Brock Purdy and Kittle, man, that's ridiculous. Kittle has the most touchdowns he's ever had in his entire career. Like, I would have never thought that, man, because this guy would barely get any good touchdowns amount. Like, the most he's had in the season before this year was, what is it, like 6 touchdowns in the season? He's got 11.
11, yeah. Hence, you can make that argument to put George Kittle as the best tight end in the game right now. I mean, other than, of course, Travis Kelce, but those are the 2 top dogs of the league. And the way that Kittle's playing, it's like Kittle he brought that next dimension to San Francisco, and it has proven big dividends in your guys' wins this year.
Yeah, and what really kind of put the icing on the cake was Christian McCaffrey trade, man. I think that was game changer. And ever since McCaffrey's been playing most of this offense, we haven't lost a game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, granted, his first game was the Kansas City.
Very little snaps, but he played very little.
Yeah. And Terrence Simpson shutting down Seahawks quick with everybody healthy. It's going to go down. Yeah. I mean, granted, with obviously not having Brooks and not having all our guys healthy is definitely going to be the factor. So, I mean, regardless of it all, from what my team has been through this season, granted, I mean, who would have thought that we would have been, going 9-8 and then also getting a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft. And throughout the season, for me, you could definitely put Coach Carroll in the Coach of the Year category for the way the season's gone down. First playoff. Obviously, it was obvious if we had gotten the 7th seed, since you guys overleaped Minnesota for the 2 seed, that this matchup was going to most likely happen. And we hadn't played each other in the playoffs since obviously the NFC Championship game years back. But this time it's the wild card. Dax Swag's coming here. Shanahan is definitely going to draw up some trick plays and make Barton look stupid.
I don't know. Like, I guess what Dax Swag said it best is the first matchup. It hasn't happened since January 2014 when the winner would clinch to go against the Broncos, and you guys took advantage of it. Oh, man, dude, I just don't like to live with the past. I like to move forward, and hopefully we get a chance to get the number 6, man. That's all I'm hoping for, man. We've been fighting. We've been close. Now it's a matter of time when we get our trophy at this point, dude. We've been playing. We've been putting this team together. I mean, Like you said, you made a good argument about Carroll. This team is still – they competed and they're in the playoffs, and it's kind of crazy how you guys have some top draft picks and you guys are still competing. The best part about in this situation for Seattle is you guys are playing with house money. Like, you guys already know what to expect. Like, even if you guys do lose, it's more like you guys are expected to lose. But if you win, it's a bonus. That's the scary part. That's the scary part, dude. That's what I don't like about you guys have no pressure.
It's kind of like when we upset New Orleans in 2011 in our last rebuild before we got the entirety of the Legion of Boom, which we had Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas in their rookie season, and we had the veteran Lawyer Malloy on our defense, and then obviously making the Marshawn Lynch trade with Buffalo mid-season, which he added that way big time different dimension of the physical running, which, it's like, so I mean, a bonus would definitely be for if we were to pull one of the next great upsets in NFL history, but obviously I never like to assume anything's going to happen, though, and that's why I think, with the way that things have gone this season and the fact that we're fortunate enough to be in this mess, but with the injuries, that you guys will definitely try to, take advantage early with being down, like exactly with the trick plays that Dax mentioned to make Cody Barton look dumb on certain plays too, which hopefully he's going to be ready.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like it's going to be one of those matchups. I mean, you guys – we were in this situation last year where we were just the 6th seed, and we came into this going against, I guess, a number 3 seed, and we came in and beat them, and then we beat the number 1 seed. But it was more like we had nothing to lose.
Yeah,
but for you guys have nothing to lose. What's concerning for me, just to be honest with you, is – can we actually play better in the rain, man? It's kind of been a struggle. It's like, okay, the odds of beating your division opponent for a 3rd time kind of adds up more pressure, but then the rain, dude, I just can't understand. Is the football gods against my Niners or what, man? I don't know. They're giving us some obstacles. I thought we would get Green Bay or Detroit, and I'll be honest with you, bro. When I saw that you guys were advancing, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. What I mean?
Definitely. Like I said, over exceeded and overachieved the expectations, and we never thought we would be here. And we're grateful to be here for the third opportunity against you guys. But let's see. Terrence Simpson has a couple things that says. He says obviously the rain isn't going to be a factor since you have the best rushing offense and having all the running backs healthy, and then 3rd time, and he wants you got obviously beat the Eagles to play KC in a rematch with you guys winning the bowl this year.
Well, Terrence Simpson, I hope so. I honestly do hope so that we can get our revenge on Kansas City. But I can, I'd be happy if we do play the Bills, actually.
Play Buffalo, especially after all that went through. Maybe you might also think about if you guys get through, you might have to also look out for that high-flying late in the season Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, yeah. That's the team that kind of had that late collapse in the Super Bowl against the Rams. But we're familiar with them. It's just kind of a different year, same results.
Yeah.
But like you said, the Bengals are a hot team too. But I think Buffalo can be peeking in and actually make a strong push. But Kansas City, they got a lot of weapons, but it's not the same without Tyreek Hill, but they still make up for the production with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he knows how to make
I would love a lot more. I would love a revenge win. Just beating Kansas City in the Super Bowl would put a dagger, and it would even the score. And maybe they make a part 3 out of it.
Yeah, Mahomes also knows how to make other weapons look good ever since losing like Tyreek Hill. It's like almost like they've never lost a beat. But then also again, Philadelphia getting that extra week of rest who knows? I mean, they kind of went on a little bit of a slump ever since losing Jalen Hurts for a few weeks, having to play with Gardner Minshew, and then they got the Giants in the last week of the season. Granted, the New York Giants rested all their starters, and the Eagles just wanted to clinch the 1 seed. So we don't know how Philly's going to come out rested after this wild card weekend for whoever they'll have to play next week. So Philly is going to still definitely, for me, be another team to keep an eye out for to see how they come out of their bye week into their first playoff matchup. But other than that, I want to see, like I said, for the matchups, seeing how well we can handle the running game with your three-headed monster is one of my top priorities and keys is shutting down the run. And then 2, limiting the damage of George Kittle. And 3, covering up the three-headed monsters at receiver. See how well Tariq and Kobe can hang with your guys, along with Quandre Diggs too. And Diggs had the big interception that got us in the position to get into the playoffs with obviously the help from Detroit back on Sunday night. And Ryan Neal is going to be back too, as Dax just pointed out. So having Neal back is going to be definite huge depth for our secondary too. So we shall see, my friend.
Yeah, we shall see. It's just we're getting some guys coming back. And was Ryan Neal out there last time, or was he?
No. Ron Neal told me by the tunnel that he was that he wasn't playing and he was just healing up his leg. And now look that he was going to be out this week, and there was the potential that he was going to be back for this if we got back. So now he's going to be back, and let's see if it makes the difference. Granted, it's going to be
no, but he didn't play against the Niners on that short week, or no?
I think he did, but he didn't play against. I don't think he played against the Jets and the Rams in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. So he probably was injured during that Niners game. Okay, I get it.
Or the Kansas City game. I think he might have been injured during the KC game.
So he did play. Okay, so he did play. All right. Like the only difference of the last matchup was we didn't have Elijah Mitchell, we didn't have Debo. So that can be the problem right there, because we beat you with pretty much just some of our backups. Ray McLeod, I'm pretty sure you're just wondering, like, who the hell is that guy?
And Hufanga changed the game when he had that big hit on Travis Homer, which was the 14-point swing. I remember that because obviously I was there, and then I just remember thinking to myself, like, that's a 14-point. My dad and I were thinking, yep, 14-point swing right there when Hufanga forced that fumble. And then, of course, I was talking to Steve throughout the game. Shout out to Steve. If Steve is somewhere in the chat, which was that 49er fan that I got to subscribe to you and also subscribe to my channel, man. Shout out to Steve. I really enjoy talking football with that dude at the game.
Yeah. Shout out to the Niner fans, even Terrence Simpson, man. Go check me out, bro. I got a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, you guys got to also we got to keep the support going from my boy CG. You know, keep him rolling. And then, of course, Niner fans also come sub up my channel too, you know.
Oh yeah, go sub up Sam Dog, man. This guy does everything. Like, he does his little car show. He does meet up with the rappers. I mean, there's a little bit outside of football, but this guy does a little bit of everything, man. So go check out Sam Dog, man.
Yep, and definitely every time when we get Seahawks versus Niner week, you could always catch me and CG doing the talks for this game. So that's why we love doing this. If we hadn't gotten this, you know, if we did get it, we were definitely ready and prepared to bring you guys the awesomeness of the collaboration and the rivalry. And hopefully one of these days we can score a big interview with hopefully the most famous player
Richard
ever.
Sherman, you said? Oh,
yeah. Yeah, one of these days we're trying to set up an interview with Sherman to do one epic rivalry, the Richard Sherman story. I was almost able to get it because I was talking to him by the Thursday night setup the last time that we played each other, hoping to one day get that opportunity, man. If we get that opportunity, that would be probably the greatest stream and collaboration for a Seahawks 49 YouTube collaboration, if we could ever get that.
Oh, yeah, dude, without a doubt, because you played for both teams, but it's mostly been with the Seahawks. But, dude, I've been trying to get Marcus Trufant on the show. I've been wanting to try to build some content with NFL players, man, but he's never got back to me. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, you said he wanted to know if I was legit.
Oh, I told him you were legit. I don't know just how busy he's been. I know he does a podcast with his wife, and then and then also we got Dax Swag asking a question. Big question. Do I wear my Wilson or Sherman jersey Saturday? I'm going to say wear the Sherman jersey because of the rivalry.
Yeah, wear the Wilson. It's a curse. You guys sold them, and then you settled for Geno.
Yeah, I mean, but at least we're going to have the draft capital now, man. You know, even regardless of even if we do go down, I'm not going to be mad about it. We got nothing to hold our heads down regardless. To me, with all that happened this year, this was a successful year.
Oh, yeah. because the pressure for you guys was you guys weren't supposed to be there. You guys were supposed to be bottom feeders and all that stuff, and you guys have proven the odds. They had you, dude, they stated this Monday night game assuming you guys were going to get beat by Denver, and you guys proven those odds. And you guys were on a winning streak for a while until that Germany game, and then you guys fell, and then you guys caught a break by beating the Jets and the Rams, and now you are where you're at. And it's just it's kind of like, you shouldn't be disappointed because you guys are here as expected. You didn't expect to be there, and you guys are.
And the fact that we're getting a top 5 pick to boot on that by virtue of the Russell Wilson trade is the cherry on top, definitely, for sure. And that is, to me, the best thing that could have ever happened. I know Dallas and I are going to be talking about this tomorrow when we do the picks, but it's just pretty much, everything that could go right went right. And the fact that we even got here is nothing more than a miracle. But let's see. He said, Nick Johnston, I like the Hawks' chances this weekend. Poor weather and quarterback matchups favor the Hawks, and we got nothing to lose. Let's go. We'll see about that, but there's a lot of pressure with, the way our defense played and how good that high-flying offense is. And then Terrence said to Dax, I sure would wear Wilson since he's looking real crappy.
That's why I said wear the Wilson.
Wouldn't. He said wouldn't.
No, I just said it because that's like a curse now. like you got to get the motto because you got rid of him and settle for a Geno. But hey, maybe one day you and John Jay should have a show together at some point, man. Hey, he's a big fan of yours, man. You got to check the comment.
I appreciate John Jay, man. I really appreciate him. Ever since me, you, and Norb did the 2-on-2. And shout out to Norb Cam. Hopefully YouTube gets his channel back. And I know he got hacked. So
he got hacked, huh?
Definitely want to send a message to Norb, tell him to keep his guards up, and hopefully we get his channel back on track. So then later on during like the regular season again, we can get those 2-on-2s going again with me, you, Norb, and John Jay, or hopefully one of these days again later on in the season, like when it was you and Don and me and Eddie. Maybe sometime we can get you, me, and freaking Steezy and Steezy and Jay. I mean, that would also be fun too, man.
I mean, I think you're talking about David McNoon, not Don.
David.
David McNair. But but Dak Swag made a good point. Let's not forget Pete Carroll was the Niners defensive coordinator. He was there for 2 seasons. But let's not forget that Pete Carroll is a San Francisco native.
Yeah, he is. And then
he grew up a fan.
Yeah, and just like Tom Brady grew up a fan of you guys back in which he was actually at the game where Dwight Clark made the catch. Heck, my friend Greg Woodfill, way before I knew him a while back, he actually was at that. He was actually at that game too when he was younger. My friend Greg Woodfill, also known as Seahawks videos on YouTube, he goes to a bunch of road games. He's actually going to the game in Santa Clara with my buddy Kenny Burns. So you can look out for his content. He also went to Germany this year, got footage from the Seahawks game in Germany, and he gets a lot of fan views from the games and certain footages of certain plays. So he's definitely a good video maker too.
Oh, and, long time no see, Sean Tuber, man. He's good dude.
What's up, Sean? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's up, Sean? Hope you're doing well, man. But yeah, I think I'm very excited for the matchup, and we got a lot to look forward to. And like I said, regardless of whoever wins, though, future's bright for both these teams, depending on just how we hit in the draft and how you guys continue to keep it up and how you guys continue to draft in the future too. I mean, you guys went through 3 quarterbacks, and because of Shanahan, you guys definitely have kept the momentum going, and the quarterback play has just been flawless for you guys.
Oh, dude, it's kind of a rare season. I don't think I can think of a quarterback over a team that's gone through that, but I think the 2015 Cardinals had quarterback injuries. If I'm mistaken, they went on to their 3rd-string quarterback or backup or something, and they went further. Like, I believe they went from Carson Palmer to Drew Stanton. Then they went to another one after that too. But they still were able to keep the offensive flow too. But it hasn't been as close to what the Niners had. I mean, like, let's be real. Like, if a team loses their starting quarterback for the season, their season's over. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's over. Or your backup quarterback. You go, okay, let me put a different layer of a team. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys. Without Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush has done solid.
Yeah, exactly. Cooper Rush is another example. Look what he did at the beginning of the year after Dak went down in Tampa.
Yeah, and then if you take him out of the equation, season's over. Okay, Niners, they went from Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. We picked him. We have him as insurance policy. We've done fine. He's injured. Oh, Brock Purdy. Still the same, but better. Yeah. A lot better.
And he's definitely shown it. He's shown it for sure, man. And then another example I would have to say for like starting quarterback going down and another quarterback able to hold the load was back in some of the Cowboys' early Super Bowl runs. One of the years, the backup quarterback to Troy Aikman was Bernie Kosar, who was famous for those Cleveland Browns playoff run teams that went to the AFC Championships where they lost to the Broncos twice. And Bernie Kosar was a good insurance policy, and he finished up the one of the, unfortunately, NFC Championship games against you guys in the 90s, which sent them to one of their Super Bowl wins. So, like, Bernie Kosar was a good insurance policy for a backup quarterback for Dallas. And then, of course, Bledsoe, when Brady went down in the AFC Championship game in the year that the Patriots beat the Rams to start the Brady-Belichick dynasty, Drew Bledsoe was able to hold it down for them. And granted, it wasn't three quarterbacks, but the point is, it's like having a good insurance policy with the quarterbacks. And then, of course, 2017, Philadelphia. Carson Wentz goes down. Nick Foles comes in and saves the season for them.
Yeah, like, there's just a lot of weird seasons. Like you said, when Carson Wentz was injured, the Eagles had Nick Foles, and everybody wasn't sure, but they won the Super Bowl that year. Oh, let's go way back in time. Let's go with the 99 Rams. Trent Green was injured in the preseason, and Kurt Warner saves the day, and the rest is history.
And he wins the MVP of the Bills, too.
Let me ask you a question, man. Like, let's say this comes as a fairy tale story. Would this even become a Walt Disney movie with Brock Purdy?
It could possibly, if you guys go on to win win your sixth Lombardi trophy. I would definitely say it could definitely be in the category of that.
So what would you call the movie? Like, let's say the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, or what?
I would just call it I don't know, Purdy the Irrelevant.
Purdy the Irrelevant. Oh, okay. That sounds kind of catchy. Purdy Irrelevant? What?
Purdy Irrelevant. Purdy Irrelevant.
That just said irrelevant.
Look at us, man. We killing this, man. We are killing
it. Let me tell you some stats. Okay. When Jimmy Garoppolo was starting at quarterback, we averaged 23-point-something points per game. But when Brock Purdy was on the field,
it went up.
33.5 points a game.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
It's kind of like when our point difference went up a bit too when we didn't average as much when we had Wilson last year. And then when Geno took over the reins, who would have thought we'd be averaging like over 20 points a game too with Geno Smith, which is a pretty crazy factor for us this year too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the stats have said it all. Geno has a better statistics as your teams in franchise history. I mean, Geno has broken the record. Not even Russell Wilson has the most passing yards or touchdowns. Not even Matt Hasselbeck. I mean, that's pretty rare.
And he set some records. I mean, he set the single season passing yard record. He hit 30 touchdowns, which the 30th one I think went to Tyler Lockett, which was right in my end zone. I had me and Adam and Dallas Stewart at the game on Dallas's birthday, which that was a pretty fun day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty great. And who knows what happens when the draft comes. I think the draft will be telling. Like, we don't know, like, if we'll keep Geno around another year. It'll be interesting if we did and just focus on, like, building the pass rush. And maybe for me, one of my keys this offseason, and I've been preaching it with my dad, is I would like to see us possibly get a big 300-pound young center in the draft. Maybe the guy from Georgia. I heard the guy from Georgia is pretty good. I don't know his name off the bat, but my dad and I were looking at centers a little bit back when we were having dinner at Buffalo Wild Wings one night.
Oh, dude, it's a solid class. Like, I think the one you're referring to will probably be like gone before everybody else, but you probably get that pick. There's this TCU center named Steven Avila or something that I've heard of. And then there's the Arkansas center named Stomberg.
Yeah.
And then there's quite a few other ones.
Yeah, but there's this one from Georgia. I can't think of the guy from Georgia. What is Georgia's center name? I'm gonna have to look that up really quick.
Oh man, dude, we gotta search it. That's why I'm gonna do some draft content like after this season. But I'm gonna work a project with this cornerback because the Niners are probably gonna look to add some depth at some point next year because we're gonna need that at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my due diligence, and I might get this kid from Oregon State on the show. His name is Razan Wright or something. His brother plays for the Cowboys.
Nice.
But he said that maybe by next week he'll be on for sure. Oh, Van Prom, whatever his name is, Van Prom.
Yeah, it started with a Van. Yeah, Van Prom. That was the. I think that was the guy. Me and my dad were looking at centers. We were watching the Monday night game.
Check out the Arkansas center too. Check out Stomberg, another guy. And there's trying to remember another guy, but there's some at different schools that I'm not aware of. Like
we were looking at some centers then when we were watching the Monday night game at Buffalo Wild Wings. Unfortunately, night where Damar Hamlin had went into cardiac arrest, which was I tell you what, when that happened, I didn't get, and I don't think I got a good night of sleep after that. Which we can still definitely, for you and me as fans, we definitely want to say, Damar Hamlin, we're praying for you. Good news is he's awake and he's being transferred back to a Buffalo hospital back in Buffalo. So at least he's going to be returning to Buffalo. But definitely thoughts and prayers with Damar Hamlin for his speedy recovery, and just hope he's keeping his guards up and hopefully he's recovered soon.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something concerning, you know. It kind of reminded me a little bit of my brother. It happened like, dude, it just gave me that flashback of memories of, you know, when I saw that happen, it just reminded me of how my brother lived his last life. And I don't know, like, it made me felt sad about it because I felt like it was kind of like my brother again.
Yeah.
Same thing, where he just gets up and then he collapses. And it's like, and it's still like, you know, that's what it was. You know, it kind of brought back the memory of my brother when that was his last day. So it was like, and then, you know, here's another player that nobody's even talking about, and I'm gonna put his name out there, Peyton Hillis. I'm hearing a lot. Yeah, he's fighting for his life, and that's another guy that nobody's throwing out there.
He saved his kids from drowning, so definitely, I was gonna also think about mentioning that too. Good thing you brought up Peyton Hillis. He was the one that kids for the Cleveland Browns with Colt McCoy back in 2010.
Peyton Hillis. He was on the cover of Madden too.
Yeah, so definitely thoughts and prayers to the Hillis family, and hoping and praying that Peyton Hillis pulls through, especially after he saved his kids from drowning in the ocean. So definitely, now that Hamlin's good, our thoughts and prayers are with the Hillis family for sure.
Yeah, I mean, besides Damar Hamlin, we all wish the speedy recovery for number 3 also, but Peyton Hillis is another person that did the same thing. He's fighting for his life.
Yeah, for sure. And then I remember when the Hamlin thing happened, my mom told me about a player on the Detroit Lions that basically died of a heart attack during a game too. Trying to think, what was his name?
Chuck Hughes. I looked it up. Like it was like in the 1971 or something. It was in the final fourth quarter of the game where he caught the ball and I think Dick Butkus hit him pretty hard.
Yeah, but then it's like she said the widow of that player watched the Hamlin thing and she watched it in horror.
It just brought back the memory in a bad way, but she was praying for him to be alive too. So it's like a lot of people have the memory, but when I saw that, dude, it kind of brought back memories from 2019, and I'm like, man, kind of just brings back my brother. I'm like, just wish he was back, but it's just the same flashback of what happened. He was like,
and then the Ricardo Lockett thing in Dallas back in 2015 when he got cracked by that one player by Heath. And then he was in the neck brace and got taken to the hospital.
Oh, Jake Heath,
yeah, Jake. And then I remember Heath actually went to go visit Lockett in the hospital after the game too. I know that game went on. Granted, I know with the whole thing with Buffalo and Cincinnati suspending.
T. Higgins was like hoping he was okay too, man. Everybody was giving him some backlash, which I never understood. Like
he didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve the backlash. it wasn't in his control, and Higgins even went to the hospital immediately after that too.
And then asked the mother if he's doing fine and all the other stuff, and everybody kept saying, "Well, you almost killed the guy," and it's like, dude, he didn't even do nothing. Like, what did he do? Like it just happened. Like he was trying to make a play to get his team on the field.
Exactly, he was just trying to make a play, and it's just unfortunate that life happened like that. And we just got to remember what's that life is bigger than the game too. You know, it's just like,
yeah, without a doubt, man. Damar Hamlin kind of opened the eyes of a lot of people, and it kind of makes you feel more human at this point. And there's just a lot of people who should keep their mouth shut and not say some dumb stuff like Skip Bayless. I don't know why he did that. And I don't know if Bart Scott said it out of context, but I think he said like the rule change of the shit, like, you know, the way how they do the rampart. But I don't think he was taking direct shots at T. Higgins like that. I think people were getting it all twisted. I think the way he said it was they established these rules with no crown the helmet, but there was no crown the helmet from T. Higgins. It was more like he was trying to stiff arm him or get past him a little bit.
Yeah. And then other than that, now back to our story, there's another thing. This guy just said, life is a lottery, stay high class. I like Gino's season-ending story more than Purdy's season-ending story. Played 2 years, get passed around like you are no good, sit behind Russell, and finally get a start again.
No, I really do think the Brock Purdy story is more better because
the Purdy story is great too
because he was the last pick in the draft. Nobody believed in him. Nobody thought he would make it. I mean, if you think the Geno Smith story is interesting, then that's because he wasn't given a chance. There's a difference. He was a high pick.
Yeah, exactly. He was a second-round pick. He was a second-round pick for the Jets in 2013, and then Purdy was a Mr. Irrelevant. But for Geno's case, I would definitely say he is very deserving of comeback player of the year, though, with the season he's had.
I mean, that's a good argument there for sure, but I'm like saying I can disagree on what Lottery said. I mean, it's a good story that he got a chance, but you can't deny the Brock Purdy story. He was the last pick of the draft. He was the last pick of the draft. He wasn't even guaranteed a roster spot. He had to beat out Nate Sudfeld.
Exactly. So, I mean, Mr. Irrelevant is definitely great too. So I definitely got to side with CG on that. The Brock Purdy thing is pretty.
And if he wins the Super Bowl, that will go down as one of the best stories of all time. I think it could if it happened.
And I mean, no rookie quarterback has ever won a Super Bowl too. So
it's rare. Like there's some history. There's some possible history in the making, so you don't know. Like people said that there was a team that couldn't win a Super Bowl at their home field, and we've got it the last 2 years.
2 years, yeah, with the Buccaneers and the Rams. You know, the only difference was with those two teams the last couple of years. You want to know what the difference was?
What?
Buccaneers were a wild card team. Rams were a division winner.
Yeah, there was a difference, but they always say it doesn't happen in the Super Bowl era where a home team hosts a Super Bowl at their home field. It's just like, but the last 2 years we got to see that history. So I think when people said, I don't think you'll ever see a rookie quarterback win a Super Bowl, we don't know. It can be the writing book of the history book. Like Roethlisberger, let's put it for example. He won 13 games as a rookie.
Yep. And then lost to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship. And then, of course, they went on that run as a wild card. And, of course, the BS of we won't go there. Super Bowl 40, obviously Super Bowl 40. I'm still mad about that. And then what he did against the Arizona Cardinals in Super Bowl 43, granted they had help from James Harrison, and then that throw Roethlisberger makes to Santonio Holmes where he just gets the twinkle toes down on the sideline to beat the Arizona Cardinals. That reach out. One of the all-time incredible catches in Super Bowl history. I think I would put that catch in Super Bowl history number 2 to the David Tyree on the helmet.
Oh, yeah. But I do agree with Terrence Simpson was saying best. Like he almost didn't make it to the NFL period and got picked up at the end of the draft and came in 6-0 and didn't know if he would ever get a chance at 22 years old. Like I think you never get to see stuff like this since the Kurt Warner story. Kurt Warner didn't get a chance. Kurt Warner, he was inexperienced when he came into the league because he said, I think if I remember one of his podcasts, I think he kind of told about when he first came into college, like when he first played at Northern Iowa, he didn't have much experience. He had like maybe 1 full year of starting experience, and then he thinks that going into the other leagues actually kind of helped him more better. And
NFL Europe, the Arena League.
But it prepared him on how to be better on offense and how to have that 2-minute drill stuff and all that stuff.
And then Dick Vermeil had good faith in him, and Vermeil's faith in Kurt Warner paid off, and he went from bagging groceries to the Arena League to going and winning the MVP and then winning the Super Bowl MVP. But also, when's the last time a player has gotten league MVP and won a Super Bowl in the same year? That hasn't happened in like forever.
I would think, but like you said, Dick Vermeil believed in him, but the only one who didn't believe in him was Mike Martz. He wanted him out. And
then freaking Steve Mariucci was the one that cut him from Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, because he was a QB coach. Yep. But
yeah, I saw that movie too. The American Underdog movie. Good movie too.
But you know, the one coach who didn't want him here was Mike Martz.
Martz.
Why did you think when he became the head coach, how long did Kurt Warner last?
How long did he last? Well, he went obviously
Not that long.
And then he went to the Giants for a little bit and then revived his career in Arizona, where he had the strong finish, where his last game in the league was a playoff game where they got blown out by the New Orleans Saints as the Saints went on to win Super Bowl 44.
Yeah, but when you saw what happened, as soon as Martz became the head coach, he didn't care for the damn Kurt Warner story. He said, dude, I'm going to get my own guy. You're out.
Yeah, and you got Mark Bolger.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out, but it kind of did okay for him. But and then he was the coach when you guys lost in that playoff game too, 2004.
Yeah, which sparked the Super Bowl 40 run.
Yeah, it did for you guys because you guys were your division champs and you guys were in our division for a couple of years, and then you guys started becoming pretty good.
Yeah, 2002. Our last year in the AFC was our final year at Husky Stadium in 2001. That was the end of the AFC West days for the Seahawks, which I hope to God I heard next season that I want to see those throwback jerseys come back so much, man. I want those throwbacks next year.
What's those classic ones? Those blue classic ones?
Mm-hmm. Give me a second.
I thought the ones that you had before. Yeah, that's cool. But I thought the ones you had before when you had Sean Alexander, I thought those jerseys were pretty dope.
Oh yeah, I love that one too. That was like my first custom jersey. So you're talking about this one.
Yeah, that one had some good. That one had a good little color to it.
Yeah, I mean the color scheme is pretty good. The darker blue, and these were, I think, these were the Reeboks. The Reeboks.
Yeah, they were more kicking. You know, when you had Alexander and Darrell Jackson, a lot of those guys.
Jackson, Joe Jaravicious, Sean Alexander, Maurice Morris, Max Strong, and then of course
Marcus Trufant.
Trufant, Ken Hamlin, and and then of course the offensive line with Walter Jones and Steve Hutchinson.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you got a lot of good throwbacks. Like, see, if you look behind my autograph right there, okay, think of these guys. I don't know if you have a good guess if you can see. Okay, the one on the top, way on top, that's an old-fashioned Niner player that was from the 70s named Cedric Hardman, which I know a lot of Niner fans are pretty aware of or don't know about him. And then Derek Smith is a guy who played in the time you guys had Alexander. And Julian Peterson.
Julian Peterson, yep, played another famous player that played on both sides of the Seahawks 49er rivalry.
Yeah, he's right here on the picture on the other side right there.
Woo.
He signed it. He was on my show and he signed it for me.
Nice, man. I remember when he did that interview too, man. I remember thinking, man, I talked with Peterson back in his playing days when he came to Seattle after his time in San Francisco too. I mean, those were definitely some fun days too. I mean, DJ Reed obviously reunited with Robert Saleh, who played for you guys too, and then came to Seattle, and now is back with Saleh with the Jets too. And then I'll tell you what, we also talk about another crazy rumor too going around. I heard the Arizona Cardinals going in this offseason are trying to shop DeAndre Hopkins for trade offers. I'll tell you what would be crazy, and I got a hot take. DeAndre Hopkins goes back to the AFC South. Not saying it's going to happen, but DeAndre Hopkins back to the AFC South, going to Duval, joining Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence, and obviously joining his former Cardinal teammate Christian Kirk, who's already over there about to play a playoff game against the LA Chargers, which I think is going to be one of the more underrated games of the wild card weekend.
Oh, I got a hot take of what can happen for him. This can be an intriguing hot take. Let's see. Hopkins, he just wants to get a fresh start and play for a contending team. This may sound funny, but I think the Cardinals might ship him to Chicago.
The Bears.
Send him to a crappy team or send him to somewhere where he can actually get a fresh start. I think he would be better with the Bears since they don't have enough weapons.
What if he goes to Green Bay? Green Bay could be another one too.
Oh, dude, that would be the worst case scenario to have him go there. They'd be contending, and it's kind of like Devontae Adams came back. It's kind of like that. But wouldn't it be kind of crazy? But I don't think they would. I think you said like Duval, but no. I think it could be the Colts because Duval, they're adding some weapons, bro. They got some good
ones. The Colts need to get a quarterback. I could potentially see the Colts getting CJ Stroud in the draft, maybe.
I'm not really too high on these Ohio State quarterbacks, bro. I haven't seen them.
Neither am I. Ohio State quarterbacks have never panned out in the NFL. I mean,
Justin Fields is just a perfect example of very little, but I don't know. I don't have the high hopes that he's going to be successful for long.
You just got to stay healthy. That's the thing with Fields. He's just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, I think it would make sense if the Colts were to get a quarterback, then maybe. But Hopkins can play for any other team that could be contending, but the Cardinals, bro. Cardinals ain't going to go nowhere.
And this is why, other than in the offseason, we got to get these football talk streams going.
This may sound crazy. If you want to go with a hot take that might happen in the near future, I don't know if this will happen. Maybe this is a long shot, but here's my hot take. J.J. Watt will come out of retirement and play for a contending team in November next year or later in the season.
I would not be opposed to that. I could potentially see it happening. We'll see next season, but
because he doesn't have to play and do too much, he could leave it open, and then if it's a team like the Niners or a team like Seattle or somebody that's contending for a Super Bowl, would you want to pass on an opportunity to get a ring?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I mean, you see some players that retire, but they have to be convinced to come back.
Yeah. Seahawks coach press conference said it all. He was big disappointed to play us again, and he knows this is Seahawks' last game for playoffs.
But I think he's playing game. I think he's playing a mind game. I think he's just trying to overhype us. I think that's what he's doing.
We'll see what happens. I mean, granted, regardless of what happens with the Seahawks this year, for me, this to me was a successful season. And I think we pretty much covered everything, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, pretty much, man.
All right. Once again, everybody, thank you guys for coming into the stream, and I hope we kept you guys entertained with our football talk, and I talked about the game earlier. And like I said, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to CG Ruthless and CG Ruthless 49ers Talk. Keep his channel rolling. Let's keep the game rolling. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. Dallas and I will be doing our game picks from his house, so I'll upload that video as soon as I get back home tomorrow. And once again, round 3. Who would have thought that we would be here for this? But we are by some fate. And CG Ruthless and I are going to bring it the best that we could always bring it to you whenever we get Seahawks versus 49ers takes.
For sure, man. It was a blast. Round 3, this just hasn't happened since the 2013 season, man. It's got to be crazy.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, catch y'all later. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. See y'all later.
Peace.
Yep.